My name's Mira Denning, and let me tell you a little bit about myself first and foremost, and we're going to have a couple awesome guests on as well. I am a presidential diamond. I'm up in New England in the Portland, Maine area, and I have been in the works almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in March, and I'm so excited because this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I got started really honestly just for a few extra $100 and found one of my passions when I started really doing this business and started hitting Ruby and then Diamond in my first 4 months. Was coaching and teaching and kind of helping other women grow. I'm a green-red personality, so do we have any greens? Raise your hand, right, in the comments. And I really love coaching and teaching. Awesome. And so a lot of what we're going to talk about today is the basic blocking and tackling to build your business strong. And for those of you who are familiar with them, we're talking about the steps to success, but let me kind of introduce the topic for those of you that are, that are unfamiliar with it or brand new yourself. I know we're going to have some newbies on today, and then we're going to have some people that are coaching newbies. So we've had the steps to success for longer than I've been in the business, longer than 5 years, but they have been updated and enhanced at our conference a week ago. And so this is going to kind of emphasize the new steps to success and really how you can achieve this and get started strong and start making that Ruby income. All right, so first and foremost, we have, you see here, let me just, we just had one of our guests join, yay. All right, hi, Brittany. So first and foremost, we have the first step, which is to get qualified by running your 80 BV auto ship to become commission qualified each month. And this investment in your business every month is going to help you be a product of the product. It's going to help you guarantee that you're going to get paid, and it just sets everything up for your business to grow. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. The next step, part of the steps of success, is to gather customers. So you can see here, if you count, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is our new steps of success. It's really, really cool, you guys. So what you want to focus on, as you can see here, is getting 6 loyal customers. And the company rewards our new distributors really well for that. So you can see there's kind of 3 sequences of 2. Every 2 customers that you sign as a new distributor, and frankly any distributor, you get a product reward. And you can use that product reward for skinny brew samples that you can sell or use yourself. You can use it for getting discounted wraps. It works energy, keto coffee, facial wraps. So you can get a lot of different products, and that is, that is really, really awesome in terms of being able to grow the product experience that you have as a new distributor as well, and to get things at a discount. And you can see there that if you get all 6 loyal customers in your first 30 days, not only do you get all these discounted products, you also get $150 in free product. So that is amazing. And pretty much all of the products that you can get with your product rewards, and of course with your product credit, like so many of them you can turn into sample cash if you want to go out and sell for samples, or you can use them yourself and take people on your own product journey. So there's just so much opportunity with the company to get that product experience as well as make income early on. So that's the second part of steps to success. And the last part is now going Ruby, okay? And this Ruby is our second promotion, and it's where you start really earning that money that makes a huge difference in your life, that $500 on average a month. And so with that, if you look at an average American, the average American is only $500 a month from balancing their budget. So this is a really pivotal rank. And you can see here that with Ruby, you can see the 3 different people under you. Those are distributors now, not customers, but distributors. And so to build a Ruby team, you need 3 distributors. So you can see there's space on this document for 3 names. And in addition to a couple of other pieces, a big part of this is reaching that 2,000 group volume. And so you basically have 2,000 volume in sales between you and your team. And I've seen people do this in 4 weeks. I've seen people do it in 4 months. I've seen people do it in a couple years. Everybody's path is different. But once you start making that money consistently, every single month, guys, that is life changing. And so we really say that, it's basically, and Marcella, do you mind putting yourself on mute just for a second? Our other panelists came. Hi, Marcella. And that is really just such a blessing in this business, that it really can help people, balance their budget and get going. And of course, dream bigger. Because once you can start balancing your budget, you guys, and you're not in survival mode. I know when I joined this business, I was in complete survival mode. That's when you can dream bigger to, getting that diamond income, which right now has a $15,000 bonus, but also has $2,000 a month income all the time. And every single other rank that, can really change your life after that. So we're going to stop there for right now. I'm going to stop the screen share and welcome our panelists officially. Oh, look, we're all here. Hi, everybody. So again, guys, I cut off my story a little bit, but just to finish it really, really quick, I joined for just a few $100s. I joined for that Ruby money, that $500 a month income to balance my budget. Everything from the outside looked really, really good. If you looked at my Facebook profile, you would never imagine that I would be needing extra income. But behind the scenes, we were drowning in debt. My husband at the time had built a business that was, Marcella, do you mind putting yourself on mute again? Sorry. Building a business at the time that had really, never taken off. And so we, unfortunately, were putting stuff on credit cards and really robbing Peter to pay Paul. And that happened for almost a decade until I found this business. And then happily, when I found this business, I found my home. So let me kind of start our group, kind of our group chat here. First of all, welcome Brittany and Marcella. We're so excited to have you. These ladies are killing their business. They're amazing leaders. They're amazing coaches and trainers. And so we've got just a lot of awesome content for you today. Let me start with you, Brittany. Can you can you give us a little bit just quickly about your story and your background before we kind of launch into the topic?
Yeah, so my name is Brittany Hayes. I'm Ambassador Diamond, just went double diamond on my 2.0 last month, and I've been with It Works for a little over 3 years. When I got started, I had never heard of the business before. I didn't really know anything about it, honestly, but I had just watched my enroller change her life on social media. And I just could never shake the feeling that I was seeing those posts for a reason. We were struggling, living paycheck to paycheck. We were in so much debt. My husband was working long hours, and I just knew there had to be more to life for us than just barely getting by. And so I just took a leap of faith. I reached out to the girl I'd been watching and got started and never looked back. Since then, I've retired my husband. And this business has truly just created possibilities that I never thought I would be able to do as a mom of 5. I just never could have imagined like the freedom and flexibility that the business would have given me. And I'm so thankful.
Oh, that's awesome. So, your story's so inspiring, but let's start at the very beginning. So, we've got people on the Zoom that are brand new to the business or coaching somebody that's brand new. Let's talk about just getting your first 6 LCs. So we're going to focus on that quite a bit today, and just how do you get your first 6 LCs. So Brittany, I know that, you have done so much on social media that's really like a role model for a lot of us. Can you kind of talk about like when somebody joins your team, what are some of the initial things that you do and suggest to help them get started on those 6 customers?
Yeah, so first things first, when you get started, you're not going to have all the answers. You're not going to know everything. You just have to start. And what I love to have my newbies do is to make a first post to their social media. So make a first post to their Facebook, to their Instagram, letting everyone know that they've started a journey. And just something simple where you maybe like briefly tell the story that you've been watching someone. So something like, for months and months. I've been following a girl on social media and watching her work off her smartphone. You know, I haven't been able to shake the feeling that maybe I should do that too. So I finally reached out. I'm so excited to announce that now I'm working off my smartphone too. I'm so excited about the opportunities that this is going to open up for my family. If you'd be interested in helping me get started, I'm in need of a few product reviewers. You can try any one of my products at my exclusive distributor discount. If this sounds like something you'd be interested in, drop an emoji and I'll send you info. So just something simple, like honestly, like you'll notice that like I like to have them post something more vague. We're not saying like, here's all the products we offer, just something to like pique people's interest. And once people start commenting, then I like to help my newbie from there go forward and respond to people. So that's the number one thing, is making that first post. And then second of all, just watching, a new distributor training, something like this, or if your enroller, your upline has one in the team page, like just watching that initial first training and making your first post. That is step one, and then we will go from there. And then, from there, I also like to make sure that I mention utilize your enroller's help. So anything that's asked of you that you don't know how to answer, et cetera, always go to your enroller, because that's what they're there for, is to help you, literally step by step of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's huge. Don't try to figure it all out yourself. You learn so much quicker by asking questions and getting the right answers than trying to like struggle and find it yourself. So I love that suggestion, Brittany. In terms of, we all see it, and honestly, this was me. What do you recommend when people are posting and they're not getting a lot of likes or comments or messages, and kind of how would you suggest they move forward?
Yeah, so that was me, you guys. My first post literally got 2 comments, and it was my enroller and my husband. But I'm still here in Ambassador Diamond today, despite of it. So you can't let the response you get on your first post, waylay you and make you think, oh, maybe this business isn't going to work for me. Some people make that first post and it blows up, and that's amazing. I'm always so excited for them. But honestly, that wasn't me. That wasn't Mira, and it's not necessary for you to be successful. So if you make your first post and you don't get a lot of likes and comments, number one, you do want to keep posting, and your enroller is going to work with you closely on how, what kinds of posts to do. But number two, you want to reach out to your warm market. Just something simple, just saying, like maybe it's someone you went to church with or used to work with, or a family member or a close friend, just someone in real life, just sending a message and just saying something like, hey friend, I know this is so random. I'm not sure if you happen to see my post I made, a couple nights ago, but I just started, a new adventure working off social media and off my smartphone. I'm so excited that God brought this opportunity to my family, but I'm looking for a few product reviewers to get started. And I thought you would be a good person to ask. If you're interested, would you mind if I send you a list of what we have to take a look at? I would be able to offer you my discount on anything you want to try. Just something really simple. Like, it doesn't have to be exactly what I said, but just something simple. You want to make sure it ends on a question. Don't say anything like, let me know. If you're new right now, I just want you to know, take the words let me know out of your vocabulary, and always be direct and end on a question. But then once they, respond back, and if they say yes, and they're like, yeah, sure, I'd be open to taking a look at it. You can send them what we like to call the goals. If you look in your team page, chances are you're going to find something like this. If you search goals, you can ask your enroller, ask your upline. There's a lot of different variations floating around. And I forgot to mention, but this is also something you can do when people comment on your posts. You can respond to the comments and say, messaging you and saying something like, hey girl, thanks for being willing to help me out. Take a look at these goals and I'll pair you with the product or products that accomplish those goals. But same thing with the people you're reaching out to. If they say, yeah, I'd be open to taking a look, say, thank you so much. Take a look at these goals and I'll pair you with the ones that, stand out to you. And then when they come back and they're like, oh, I want to get more energy. Yeah, I need to lose 20 to 30 pounds. Like, and they start saying which ones they have, then boom, you can go back to your enroller and say, okay, here's what they're interested in. What would I say next? And that's what your enroller is there for. They're going to help you with how to respond and how to get those conversations going.
Yeah, I love that. And we have a very similar kind of script for our team. And just, I think the overall emphasis is keep it simple and short. and just, you know, open-ended. So it's not, you know, you don't feel like you're pushy, but I think like just for us, it's the same situation of asking for, you know, just sharing that you started your business and you could really use help from people that want to review products at a discount. If it's something that you would be interested in, I'd really be grateful. And then end on a question like Brittany said, is that something that you would like to hear more about? And then as Brittany suggested, in pretty much in any conversation, whether it's off a post, a message, even if it's off a specific product, you guys, like keto coffee or greens or whatever, I always suggest you ask about their goals. Okay, so if they come to you and first of all, if their goals don't match that product, we want to adjust. But almost always that also offers an opportunity to suggest multiple product options. Usually I try to suggest find 3 that match their goals, because within those 3, hopefully they'll find one that really jumps out to them. But also if they order all 3 with our products, the results are always accelerated if you add a couple products together. They're all formulated to work together really, really well. So especially since we get a lot of weight loss and energy type requests, like detox, like we have multiple products in all of those. So even if somebody comes to me off of a greens post or now a skinny brew post, the first thing I ask them, even to this day, is, can you tell me a little bit about your goals? So I think just make sure that you really have that as your default. Like even if somebody asks me about the price and we haven't talked at all yet, I'm like, I would love to share that information with you, but do you mind if I first ask you what your goals are so we can match the best products for you? And that tends to pivot the conversation really, really well. So Marcella, let's turn to you a little bit. Do you mind first just sharing a little bit about your story and kind of your Because of It works?
Yes. Hi, good morning, guys. How are you? So my name is Marcela Dalterio. I've been in this business for a little over 3 years as well. My background is in corporate. I used to be an HR manager. I didn't really join with the intention of like going too far. I just wanted to make extra money. I graduated with 40,000 in student loans, but at the same time, kind of like what Nira was saying, I had a good life from the outside. Like I had a good job. I had like steady income, my husband as well, but I didn't really have a life. Like I worked like 70, 80 hours a week sometimes. I worked in salary. So I was really busy. Another thing is I was a bilingual HR manager. I always wanted to make an impact in the Spanish community, and anybody who has ever worked in the corporate world, you understand that the impact is never for the employee, but it's always towards the company. So I pretty much hated what I did every day. I had to lay people off. I had to do a lot of things that were against my values. So when I started in this company, I pretty quickly saw their values. I saw that they were faith-based. So I didn't become like a diamond overnight. Like, you know, it took me some time because I had a full-time job and I didn't have the vision yet. So I became a diamond like after 1 year I joined, and like double diamond, triple presidential really quickly after that. But it did take me a while to catch the vision. You know, like I was still a little bit doubtful of the products, of the vision, but I am changing what it means to be a Latina in this country, where you no longer have to clean houses, work in factories. You can be an entrepreneur. You can be a millionaire. It doesn't matter where you come from. So that's a little bit of my story.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I love that you shared that because, you know, everybody's path is different. You know, the average person that goes to Diamond, which I know a lot of people watching this are going to be so hungry for Diamond right now, but the average time is a year. And so that means that half of the people take more than a year. But if it took you 2 years to hit that $2,000 a month level, every single second before that would be worth it. And I have a really similar story to you in the sense that I was working full time. I hit $2,000 to $3,000 a month and was quite happy with that. But in my 3rd year, I caught a bigger vision. So it took me 3 years to even believe that I could go VIP. And now I'm top 40 in the company in my 5th year. So just everybody watching newbie, like listen to these stories. Everyone's path is different. And you don't know when something's going to trigger for you. It may take 3 years like it did for me to really have that really big vision for yourself. So back on topic, Marcella, you know, you and I both do things in addition to social media. We both build with launch parties and other in-person things quite a bit. Can you talk a little bit? I know that you do a lot of the things that Brittany have suggested with, you know, putting your warm market list together, getting your social media launch together, and then you also add in doing launch events, sip and samples, launch parties. Can you talk a little bit about how those work and how somebody on this who would want to start that, like where would they begin?
Yes. So I would definitely recommend, even if you're new, even if you're brand new, to make it part of your team's culture. You know, you don't need to have a huge team to have a team. Even if you have one distributor, that's already a team. So make it part of your team culture. The way that I launch my distributors, very similar to what Brittany was saying. You know, we do the post, we message, but the third part is we do a launch event. Okay. I say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna come to your house. I know about the products. I know how the products work. I'll bring 3 or 4 products. I don't bring everything. I say I bring 3 or 4 of the main products, and you can call your mom, you can call your friends, and I'll just introduce it to them, and you can tell them that they're gonna try it for free, and that way I can help you enroll some customers. Okay. Now, some people get nervous about this. Like if you're on the other end, if you're the leader, you're like, oh my God, I need to know how to do this. I need to know how to do a formal presentation. It's none of that. It's just you going in person and talking to people about the products. What that, like when you do this, there's 2 aspects to it. Number one, you're meeting the person in person, because most of the times we're meeting people in social media and they're still wondering if we're even real, like if we're even going to scam them or not. So you meet the person in person, and they learn to trust you, and they learn to know that the products are real, that you are real, and that builds rapport with you and confidence with their family members or whoever's going to be there. And 2, it accelerates your results, because what you can, I always say this, what you can do social media in a month, you can do in an in-person launch event in 1 day. So just think about that, and so make it as part of your culture. Now, there's some key stuff. Don't mention the word party. Don't say, oh, I'm going to do a wrap party, because people get intimidated by that word. They think that they have to have, like, I don't know, like food and all of these things. Say, I'm just going to go to your house and we're going to do something in person. And then sometimes the person won't say it straight up. They will be like, oh, I don't know. So just be like, you know, do you feel comfortable doing it at your house? Some people will be like, no, I live with my parents. I tell them, you know, I've done launch events in basements, in attics, in rooms, in Starbucks. Like I say, it's not about the event itself. It's about me just helping you launch your business. And if they still feel uncomfortable, I have also offered my house. If for some reason you cannot offer your house, like I said, find a Starbucks or find a local event that is being hosted in your area or around your area. So, and here we have a monthly try it in English in Newark, and I'm about to get one started in Spanish every month. So people will have a place to come. And you don't need to be corporate. You don't need to be anything. Even you can start this in a Starbucks. You can start this in a Panera. You can start this like Barnes and Noble is a really good place because it has like those little tables. So just do anything to get your distributor in person. And sometimes they might be thinking, oh my God, I need to have 10 people. Just say, I always ask, what is a successful number for you? Sometimes they say, oh, I only know 2 people. That's okay. Bring them on board, because I just want you to try the products. I want you to meet me in person. So make it as part of your culture to launch people in person and also invite them to an event right away. Because I wish, like my first year in this business, I never went to an event. So that's why I was struggling with the vision, because I was like, oh, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if this is for me, you know. And the first time I went to an event, I was like, oh my God, this is totally for me. So take your people to an event. That will accelerate, like what you're trying to do, teach them the vision. They can only see it through an event because they have to hear a similar story to them. They have to see themselves in someone else. And maybe you're not able to provide that because everybody has a different background. So bring them to an event right away. So those are the 2 things that I do with a new distributor.
Yeah, I love that. And those have been the backbone of how I've built as well. For those of you guys who don't know my story, I went all the way to Presidential Diamond with 90% of my team coming from the state of Maine, which happens to have 1/3 of the population of the borough of Brooklyn in New York City. It is a small state. And so a lot of that was just literally like Marcel and I built it very similar ways, doing all the social media stuff, but also doing launch parties and having consistent team meetups that grew into bigger corporate triads as our team got bigger. But it started with me having 12 people meet at a restaurant in the back room. And from there we grew and grew and grew. And so, you know, I would just suggest like really adopt that because it creates that chemistry, that duplication, and that vision. And there are triads and corporate events going on all over the place. It's really important to corporate. So they're all over the country in all different regions. If you have to drive an hour or two, that's no big deal. That's no big deal. But you're probably going to have one, most of you in that vicinity. The other quick thing I want to say on this is, let's say that you're a newbie on this and you're like, well, my enroller is really far away, or for some reason is very nervous, like they don't do parties. I do have a training on how to do parties from scratch on my YouTube. I know it says Cami Pentecost, but my name is Mira Denning, MIRADENNIG. That is called Super Simple Sip and Samples. It's literally how to do it soup to nuts. And it really is very simple once you kind of know the roadmap. So for sure, use that, leverage that. If you're somebody that just wants to start doing it yourself, and don't overcomplicate it. Honestly, if you have 2 or 3 products that people can try, and now we have the new catalogs, which is awesome because you can take the new catalogs, you can use the new triad presentation, they're right in our eSuite documents, and just use those that start conversations in combination with mixing 2 or 3 things. So we've talked now about starting really on 3 levels, and this is exactly what we do on our team as well. It's messaging. We have people do a 20s list that grows into a 100s list. It's the social media launch, and it's the launch party and event type in-person launch. So those are 3 prongs, guys. So grab onto at least 2 of those. I tell my team at least 2, ideally 3, but at least 2 that you can do and commit to. So we want to talk about a few other things. Just one thing that I know I wanted to throw in there is I am in my 40s. And a lot of people come to me and say, all right, I'm signing people in their 40s, their 50s, even their 60s. And like, it's different. Like, I build on Instagram. How do I help them? And so I just really wanted to, it's Denning, DENNING. So the catalogs are in the eSuite documents. Sorry, we're getting some questions and comments in the chat. So here's the thing. No matter what the age of somebody, it's, honestly, I coach and teach them the same way, which is that we've got the 3-pronged attack, which is social media, the messaging, and the in-person events. I do not change that based on somebody's age. If somebody hasn't been on Facebook a lot, well, Brittany was like 23 when she joined, and she got 2 interactions on her launch post. So it doesn't matter the age. And so you might need to do a little bit extra training. There's so much social media training for my team because I am focused on Facebook. I teach Facebook. So usually as a leader, it's easier to teach what you're doing. And so I would just go, really embrace with that person and say, we're gonna teach you how to do this. Regardless of their age and social media experience. And I do not waver from that, because ultimately the best way for me to help my team is for them to duplicate what I am doing, because then I can steer them in the right way to do that. At the same time, I meet people where they're at. So just asking candidly, like, here are 3 different ways we could start you off. What are the 2 that you want to start off the most? And usually I do emphasize that social media is huge because the reach is so big. But if it's like, well, Mira, I'd really prefer to get a launch party first, fine, we're doing that. And so it's a combination of consistent coaching that really is simple and follows what I do with meeting people where they're at. And if you do that without regard of age or social media experience, the knowledge and the wisdom and the vision will trickle in. So I wanted to touch on that because that is a very common question that I get. So let me talk about a few other things as well that we all agree is really important. The first thing is mindset. Mindset shapes so much in this entire business, even at our levels, but certainly when you're new. And so Marcella, I know when we were planning this, you were talking a little bit about helping people get a reality check on the mindset it's going to take, and also to get some small wins, because that'll help build confidence. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, so it's very important that I'm not sure what system are you going to create for your new distributors, but make sure that you have a duplicatable system. Make sure that you have that, because if you have a team, you want to make sure that all your downline is following the same system. Like mistakes that I made at the beginning is that I will be great at training, but 3 people down my line wouldn't even know what to do. So make sure that you create, like getting off this Zoom, make sure that you create a system. Maybe you don't create it yourself. Maybe you can talk to your leader and together you guys can create a system. So make sure that you have a system, whether it's you host a one-on-one Zoom for your new distributors, whether you have a pre-recorded video, make sure that you create a system. I'm also a very red personality, and I heard this at conference. I like to roll people left and right, left and right, left and right, but then I don't have a system. And I'm like, okay, bye, so like make sure that you have a system. So once you figure out what system that is, during my first training video, I cover mindset, because I cover, like, you want to make sure that you give expectations. If you give people expectations, like their experience needs to match their expectations. If they come in here expecting that they're going to announce their business and all of a sudden they have thousands of customers or thousands of likes and their experience doesn't match that, they're going to walk away because they're going to feel defeated. So on your first video, on your first phone call, or your first interactions, you gotta set them up with the right expectations, okay? So that's when you touch a little bit on the mindset, okay? So that's when I say, you're gonna announce your business, not like you're probably gonna get nobody liking or commenting, because especially when we're now in businesses, people are skeptical, and especially the closest people to us. Not because they don't believe in this business, but because they don't really know what we got ourselves into. I always share about this. My husband blocked me on Facebook when I started because he thought that I was really annoying, posting about the wraps and all of those things. So I always say, people, the closest people to you, like I always tell them worst case scenario, what can happen. So if those things happen, they don't feel defeated, right? So you might not get likes, you might not get comments. I always explain the 10-80-10 rule. 10% of people will support you. The other 10 might be like, oh, what do you get yourself into? And 80% of people will just watch you and see how you're doing. So I give them expectations right off the bat, like commit to the business for at least 3 months. 3 months of consistent posting, consistent work, so then you can decide if this is for you or not. Ideally, I would want you to commit for a year. But if you can do just 3 months, then commit to that, and then we'll see how this is gonna work for you. So just make sure that you give expectations. People, I've never been in this industry. We've never, we are used to people liking our stuff. We want to get approval. We want to get social approval. So when we don't get that, it's very hard, especially on new people. The first negative comment, and you wanna like leave. You're like, okay, I cannot do this. So if you covered that on the first video, on the first training, on the first interaction, people are going to go and they're going to be like, you know what, I'm ready mentally, because my enroller already told me that people didn't like me. I always share that my husband blocked me. I always share that, always. And people are like, oh, okay, her husband blocked her. Okay, then that means I can do this. So make sure that you address those things, because people don't have a background on this industry. Most people don't. So make sure that you address that so their experience matches their expectation. Make sure of that. Like, their experience needs to match their expectation.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And again, I mean, your husband blocked you. My mom took 4.5 years to buy a product, you guys. I was already a presidential diamond. And even when the month I was going for presidential, on the very last day, I said, Mom, I needed to buy something. And she said no. Okay, so like you have to push through that and persevere, because I always knew the reason I was doing was so much stronger than the negative responses, but they do hurt, and you just have to move past them. I think to help that, Brittany, you have some book suggestions for brand new distributors to start with. So why don't you just share some of those?
Yeah. So, I just kind of tacking on to what Marcella and Mira were just sharing, no one ever gets rich off their friends and family, you guys. So even if best case scenario, all your friends and family buy from you, that's still not building a lucrative business. Like, you still have to go outside of that. So if you can just decide from the beginning, you're not going to get waylaid if your friends and family want nothing to do with your business, I promise you, you will be better off for it. And just always be looking for solutions, always be looking for what's next. Learning to pivot and redirect is just so huge. And so what I like to recommend to my newbies right off the bat is listening to 3 books in this order. If you guys want to, if someone wants to write them in the chat, it's Rhinoceros Success by Scott Alexander. It's a phenomenal book. It's an hour and a half long. So the audiobook's like $4 on iTunes, $4 on Audible. There's no excuses not to get it. And literally you can finish it in one setting. So Rhinoceros Success. And what I love so much about this book is it really just talks about successful people look for solutions, plain and simple, and unsuccessful people look for problems. And you will always find what you're looking for. So if you come into this business expecting everything to go wrong and expecting no one to want to support you and expecting not to sign anybody and just think, oh, well, this isn't going to work for me, it's not going to. But if you come in looking for solutions and you're like, you know what, if Mira and Brittany and Marcella can do it, why can't I? They're all so different, but yet here they are successful, then you're going to find success too, because that's what you're looking for. And so if you find yourself being just naturally a little bit more prone to, that negative mindset, I cannot recommend Rhinoceros Success enough, because I'm just saying you can't listen to that book and not feel really convicted about maybe some faulty ways of thinking. The second book I recommend to my newbies to listen to is called Chop Wood, Carry Water. So typed out, it's just Chop Wood, Carry Water. I can't remember who the author is, but you'll find it easily. It's also like a $5 audiobook, and you can get that on iTunes. You can get that on Audible. It is absolutely phenomenal. I'm not going to tell you guys all about all the books, but one thing I just want to share, what stood out to me so much when I first read this book. I had heard about it. I didn't actually listen to it until the month I was going presidential. And I don't know why I didn't listen to it sooner, but it impacted me so much, even at that point in the business. And they started off talking about how if you, this guy was building a house, he'd been building houses for, all of his career, and he was retiring. And they said, can you build one last house before you're done? And he said, yeah. And he was kind of annoyed, but he said yes. And he did just a crappy job on the house. Just took a lot of shortcuts, just, tried to get it done as fast as he could, just didn't really put his heart into it. And when he was done building the house, he walks in and they hand him the keys and they said, congratulations, this is your house. You did such a good job for us all these years. We wanted to gift you with the house. And he realized that he just did a terrible job building his own house. And they start the book off saying, if you can't learn to do things with excellence, you're never going to receive what you, the best that you can receive. And I think that is one of the most important lessons we can learn in this business is doing things from with excellence from the beginning. Doing things with excellence when you are a brand new distributor and you can't see Presidential Diamond, Ambassador Diamond ahead of you, still doing it well then, because those days will come for you, but you've got to be faithful with the little things before you'll get the big things. And then last but not least, for the next book that I recommend for when you're brand new, is called Beach Money. This is a book that you may have heard different corporate people talk about before. It is a network marketing book. The author of the book, I can't remember his name, but it's a guy, and he's a network marketing professional and has earned, millions in the industry. And it's just, honestly, what's funny is it's kind of like this Zoom. The book really just breaks down his version of steps to success. Is extremely similar to the Zoom. But I love that book so much, also 3 hours long. And so I promise you, if you come in and you're new and you're overwhelmed, you're not feeling very self-confident, if you will listen to these 3 books and quickly, don't take 6 months to listen to them. They're literally very short. Listen to them quickly and really write down your takeaways, and really train yourself to get in the frame of mind to start thinking like the type of person who can become successful. You will start seeing that success naturally gravitates towards you, because that is the direction that you're going.
Yeah, I love that. Honestly, that personal development has changed me entirely, you guys. I did not have a lot of self-belief when I joined. Felt honestly like a failure in real life and in my marriage. And that was a huge piece of what rebuilt me in combination with getting to events. A couple of things on mindset. So first of all, part of mindset is staying close to the fire and staying plugged in. If you are off doing, you know, we all get negativity thrown at us, whether it's about the business or other things all day. Some of that's coming from our own head, you know, and so it's really important to stay very engaged into the different team and corporate activities and opportunities, because it helps get the positive thoughts and the positive energy around you that honestly is very rare in our world. And so what does that mean practically? It means if your leadership, if you have a VIP, a diamond or above leader, or a VIP leader that's running team Zooms, get on them. You know, make sure you watch the corporate live at 10 o'clock every night on Sunday, and the Show Me the Money call at 9 on Pam Souter's page every Monday. Those calls, man, they fire you up, you know, and you get lots of tips. So a lot of it's just the energy and the excitement. Downloading the Connect app and making sure you're plugged in through. They've got extra training on there. They've got push notifications. All sorts of stuff is on the Connect app. And then follow the corporate team as well as your VIP leaders on social media. So you're watching people that have been successful in the leadership of the company. That's Mark Pentecost, Cami Pentecost, Pam Souter, Mike Patillo, and Kinsey Pentecost. Follow them and on social media, because that's going to keep you in the know and kind of keep you plugged in. So I think that's really huge. I think the last thing that I wanted to touch on in mindset as well is that a no is not really a no. I want to explain what a no is. A no, first of all, is not a no about you as a human being. So a lot of people, particularly with yellow personalities and other like more emotional colors, or maybe you're just in a vulnerable spot in your life, will take a no very personally. Guys, a no is about the products or the business right at this moment. And sometimes it's purely out of ignorance, because actually it would really truly help them. But that is a process of with you consistently posting, consistently putting yourself out there as a product of the product, as well as telling your story around the business. All of that is going to turn those no's into yeses. Okay. And so it takes time. You're going to get so many, I still get so many no's. I bet Marcella and Brittany get no's all day, every day still. But at the same time, I'll tell you that so many of my no's have turned into yeses. I've had people that watch me for 6 months, a year, come into the business and go diamond. Okay. So just have that faith and have that mindset. And Marcella, you have a quick, easy tip that I really liked. When somebody, for example, you write, one of the product tester messages to get some of your initial product testers, kind of taking that no and convert it to a hosted post. So maybe just give them a quick minute or two on that real quick, is just a practical way to kind of keep the conversation going.
Okay, yeah, so when you do your initial list of your first 10, 20 people, if you're a new person or you have someone new in your team do it, I tell them, I always use the 20-80 rule. Like 80% of people might say, no, thank you, I'm not interested in supporting you, okay? And then at that point, you can turn it into a host to post, which is when somebody does a post for you, So when people say, no, I'm not interested, then you can just say, okay, great, I'm very excited about launching my business. So how do you feel about doing a post for me about one of my products? I will type it for you and I will just give it to you and you just have to tag me. Okay, so if the person says no to about whatever initial message you sent, then ask them to do a post for you. Okay, 99 of people will say yes. At that point, people will say yes. So then you have something pre-typed, or I like to have already a picture of those color boxes so people can just post that picture and tag you. So you can type a host post about a cleanse, you can type a host post about now the coffee. I'm looking for 3 people who drink black coffee and would like to lose some weight. Have something pre-typed, and the person will just tag you or will tag the new distributor. So when the people say no, and they do, you can have them host the post for you, okay? And then 9 out of 10 people will actually see what the post is about, and they will say, oh, you know what, actually I am interested in that coffee. So don't worry about people saying no, have them do a host to post. And something I didn't mention before, for a new distributor, it's very important to have a win right away, right? So even somebody saying yes to doing a post for them, they already think on their mind, oh my God, like somebody said yes to me. So that's a win for them. So turn those no's into a host to post so the new distributor can feel confident and say, oh my God, somebody said yes to do a post for me. And once they see the interest in the person or people commenting on that post, they're going to be like, okay, you got to build the confidence of that new distributor, going from small win to small win to small win to small win.
Yeah, so good. I think that's really important. And recognition. So if we have the coaches here, like, recognize if they've gotten 2 LCs and they've got their auto ship on, they're fast start qualified and can start earning unlimited $50 bonuses now with the new fast starts. And so and they've earned a product reward. So just celebrate those wins early and often. So we've got about 15 minutes left. Really want to talk about, okay, you've gotten your 6 LCs. Now you want to start working towards Ruby, really start promoting up. And so the first step of that is obviously getting those 3 distributors in. Brittany, can you talk a little bit about kind of, as people pivot to that, how would you start that as a new distributor?
Yeah, so once they have signed their first 6 LCs, I like to immediately have them sign their spouse if they're married. If they're not married, sign a family member like their mom, someone that will do them a favor and sign up. And I especially like, let's just go if someone's married or in a serious relationship and they can sign their significant other. I like to make sure I explain to them they don't actually have to work or do anything, but you're going to sign them up. And this is a way that you can start building your chart more quickly. And you're going to get 2 paychecks for the work of 1. So whenever you get your spouse their first 6 LCs, you're obviously going to get a $150 bonus. That's going to, not just make back what you paid to sign them up, and then some. They're going to get that $150 shopping spree, but then you're also going to get paid twice on all the customers you put under them. So it's a no-brainer. And this is the way I train every single person on my team to work their business. Once they get their first 6 LCs, sign their spouse. And then from there, though, I really want them to start telling their story on social media and attracting, new distributors. I promise you guys, if you will just be loud about what you're doing, people will be interested. People are always watching, but so often, like, we're not sharing what the business is doing for us, and that's why we're getting customers, but we're not getting distributors. And so just getting in the habit of just sharing little bits about what the business is doing for you. Maybe you have young kids like me and you're, out and you're, with your kids at the park or whatever, and you take a picture and you're like, never in a million years did I dream I'd be able to work off my smartphone while be at the park with my kids. But it's 2020 and this is the business of the future. If you're interested in some extra income off your smartphone from wherever you are, I would love so much to talk to you. Message me or text the word opportunity. Just like little things like that you're constantly putting out there. I do this daily. So my Facebook and Instagram is public. If you need ideas, you can go through my Facebook and Instagram and you're welcome to follow me. Like I said, all my posts are public and I do this every single day. So you'll get tons of fresh ideas. But the main thing is just getting in the habit and looking for opportunities. I like to tell my new distributors, like, look for things that are happening in your everyday life that you can turn into a business post. Maybe you're loading your kids up in the car from the grocery store and you're taking a picture of the groceries and your kids. And you're like, grocery shopping used to be so stressful as a 1-income family, but thanks to working off my smartphone, now I have some extra income coming in. If you've been interested in, a way to have some breathing room in your budget, I'd love to talk to you. Just like little things like that. I promise you're going to get people interested in what you're doing, and you're going to have to be consistent. They're not all going to flock the first time you make a post. But if you will post consistently every single day, you'll start seeing people noticing and wanting info about what you're doing. So that's the way that I like to get my distributors really off going strong. And then also too, if you know someone in your life that's struggling, I think all of us know someone that wants extra money. And so just like if you have a friend that things have been hard for them for the last couple of years, just reach out and just send a voice note and just say, hey, I know this is random. I don't know if you've noticed what I do, but I work off social media. I've been doing it for a little while now. And it's absolutely, already been such a blessing in my life. I've met the most amazing people and I'm so excited for what it's going to do for me this year. I don't know if you're open to making an extra income, but if you are, I'd love to just send you some info to take a look at. Always use the words, are you open? Because most people don't want to say they're not open. You know what I mean? That just makes them seem very closed off. So most people are going to be like, yeah, I would take a look at it. Send me some stuff. And then from there, keep it simple. Don't answer a question that wasn't asked. A confused mind always says no. Lead with your excitement. Just quick, little voice message is going to be so much better than sending like this typed out, novel this long. And that's kind of the last thing I wanted to say is voice message everyone that's interested in the business. I don't type out anything with the business, you guys. I've been a top enroller, honestly, since around the time I was Diamond. I've been invited consistently on Pam's top enroller monthly Zooms. And my biggest thing is I voice message, because your voices can, like, the excitement in your voice is contagious. And if you want to build up trust really, really quickly with someone who maybe is fearful of starting something new, you need them to hear your voice. So don't, like, it's like a big typed out long message. There's no emotion attached to that. Like, it's so much easier for someone to let fear get in the way. So voice message, even if you're scared to voice message, I promise you, you will sign so many more distributors if you do.
That is so good. And, you know, I too, I might do like the initial, if I'm initiating the conversation, I will do a written message, but after that, everything is voice memo, because they can hear so much of the energy that you're bringing to it. So Marcel, what would you like to share kind of as a major thought on helping people get their first distributors and charting out to Ruby?
Okay, so I'm gonna say it again. Create a system, create a system, create a system, okay? Because you might get off some like great ideas of here and only you learn how to do them. Like, write some notes and create a system that is duplicatable. The success of this business is all about you doing, has to be duplicated. So after my initial training, then I have a training on how to get to Ruby, right? How to get to Ruby, that's the next rank. I like what Brittany said about signing your spouse or your mom or something like that. And then they teach people, create a system on teaching people how to sign distributors, right? So there's different ways. Social media posts, like attraction marketing, teach people how to do that. Give them like 2 or 3 samples on how to do attraction marketing. Also, you know how they message the first 10 to 20 people in the beginning? Then the same thing now. Make a list of 10 to 20 people that you think will be great in this business. Maybe they're great in social media already, or maybe people that you would love to work with, and message them. A message like, hey Mira, I don't know if you saw that I'm working this business. I think you will be great because A, B, C, D. Because you are great at social media, because you're a mom who I know needs the extra money. I think you will be great because of whatever reason it is. And kind of like Brittany say, we like some more information about it. Okay, now utilize, make sure that you utilize other systems that are already in place. Like I always say, don't try to reinvent the wheel. So like Cami yesterday did like a presentation, right? Like a trial presentation to help you enroll distributors. I'm pretty sure your team also has some opportunity Zooms or some opportunity events. If you feel that you're new and you're still not great at signing distributors or talking to distributors, utilize systems that have been created. If you're a leader, create systems that are duplicatable. So like we have right now during this season, we have one opportunity event once a week. Every week we have one, so people can invite their potentials to it. So if you're a leader, create one. If you're not a leader yet, make sure that you get plugged into the corporate ones. Cami did an amazing one yesterday. So there's always things that people can watch if you feel that you're not like good at closing, if you're not, if probably you feel nervous about explaining the opportunity. So make sure that you get plugged into those and have your team doing the same thing so it's duplicatable, right? So so that's what I want to say. Teach people how to sign distributors through social media pros, through attraction marketing, through messaging, and through getting plugged into duplicatable systems, which could be opportunity events, the ones that corporate do, or even bring them to an in-person. Like somebody that comes to an in-person, try it, they're gonna sign up no matter what, because people are so excited and they're like, what are these people, like, what is going on with them? They're gonna sign up no matter what. So make sure that you create a duplicatable system for your team. If you're a leader, if not, get plugged in, ask what are the systems that are already in place, so you don't try to recreate the wheel on your own.
Yeah, I love that so much, because there are so many resources, you guys. So definitely ask for help. I think also what I wanted to share is, you know, there's a lot of fear around particular asking people to join your team when you're in your first 30 days, which is what we're talking about. And what I would say to you guys is, all 3 of us have remarkable and distinct stories, and there's unlimited numbers of amazing stories of people that hit diamond and above and changed their life, even at Ruby and above. And so whether you're there or not, the proof of concept of the business opportunity is there. And sometimes people feel like, well, what if they say no, or what if are they going to judge me, or does it sound like I'm going to ask them a favor? And I would say, guys, you have in your hand a tremendous opportunity. And so not everybody's going to get it, but what a gift you can give someone to join this business and be able to run for the income that we all have earned and can earn with this company. And so try to work on your mindset to basically quell that fear, quiet that fear by saying, somebody out there needs this business and I'm going to help that person find it, okay? Because if you sit in fear, then all the people whose lives might change, that you might touch. I mean, I have 10,000 customers and distributors on my team, more than that. I had never imagined that when I started at all. You know, I was in pure survival mode. So just imagine if you start reaching out, whose lives you could change. And when you focus on that, the people will come in and you'll be in action mode and the no's won't bother you as much. So just really mindset wise, when it comes to team building, really take that value of the business that we know is there and use that to be your brave, okay? To build that confidence and bravery, even if you don't feel it about yourself yet. Okay, so we're all out of time. This has been awesome. Thank you guys so much. So we went through 3 simple ways to go through the steps of success. The steps of success document is in your eSuite library, and there's also a second document, a second page with it that asks a lot of great questions about who would be interested in certain products, people that need extra income. That's a great tool, whether you're a newbie or coaching a newbie, to kind of go through complete. So that will be your homework item off of this. You know, take your notes, go grab that document, fill in those questions, reflect what strategies you want to use, and get in action. Thank you guys so much, and thank you to Brittany and Marcella. Appreciate it. Have a great day, you guys. Take care.